10 o'clock. Yeah, I want to wrap it up here for tonight, lads. Thank you very much for tuning in, lads.
It's not easy, wasn't it?
Well, like this car has been... Welcome back to the channel, and today we are showing off our beautiful Mark III Supra. The Mark III Supra, of course, this was the very first standalone Supra of its name. The Supra name actually started as a Celica, would you believe, and it wasn't until the Mark III that Toyota actually decided to give it its own legs to stand on. Of course, this car comes with the inline 6 like all Supras do. This particular version has the 7MGE engine in it, which is a dual overhead cam engine. You could actually get these in a 1JZ variant, so even back here you're starting to see the breadcrumbs to what would become that legendary Mark IV Supra. But to talk about this particular version that we have here, the 7MGE, like I said earlier, it is an inline 6. This particular one would have made about 200 brake horsepower from the factory, or 149 kilowatts for all you weird little freaks. There was a turboed version of this car that would actually bring it up to 232, and you got to remember, this is way back in 1986 that this car would have been first developed, so that's a lot of power coming out of that car. The Mark III might not have the same cult status as the Mark IV that followed, but it's a car that laid the groundwork for what the Supra would become. It proved that Toyota could build a world-class sports car with that blend of performance, technology and everyday usability. There's seats in the back that you can fit a small child into, and there's a boot there that you could easily put a dead body into. This is an everyday sports car, and it laid the groundwork for what was to come. This particular car we actually came across it 27 years ago. An elderly English woman had moved over to Ireland. She had this car, she didn't really want to deal with the hassle of VRT, and her husband had recently passed away. So that's the story and how we came across this car, and since we got it, it's been sitting in the shed. So today we're going to do everything that we can to get this girl back up and running.
You didn't look very long.
Found it immediately. I have been quietly panicking about that for the last 10 minutes.
Alright. You're just keeping that to yourself, will you?
I was quiet as fuck, where is this? Fuck away.
Right, falling off her leg. Oh, nice. Wouldn't be a big fan of spiders now myself.
With the car down from the lift and the oil drained out, which was actually surprisingly pretty good for a car that hadn't had an oil change in 27 years. We then tried to turn the key. No luck, didn't start up on the first try, but we didn't really expect it to. But this is where the handling began. We checked for spark, we got spark. We checked for compression, we got compression. The problem was to do with the fuel. But what exactly that problem was, well, that's where the fun really began. Thankfully, at the same time, we were actually live streaming on TikTok, so all the people who are in the chat were actually helping us out by giving us advice, tips, things to look out for, and where to look for problems. We actually had a problem trying to find the fuel pump on this car. We found the fuel gauge pretty easy in the boot, but the fuel pump itself is actually right next to it, but out of sight of the hole that Toyota have cut. So unfortunately, we are going to have to call it quits. We have been defeated by the Toyota. We did get it running for a couple of minutes. It did run for a few minutes, but unfortunately it's being more difficult than we kind of anticipated. But we did get it running, so I'll insert some of that footage here now. Plan is, if it starts easy for us next week, we'll bring it for a quick little drive just up and down the road, just to get it running. I'll kind of show you more about the car. But it is how it is. Sometimes these things happen. Sometimes cars want to be pain and agony, and this is just one of those times. So, yeah, tune in next time. We'll see you soon.